this month, I made a WrestleRant video on the releases from TNA, including Christian York, Joey Ryan, Crimson, Madison Rayne, and Taylor Hendricks. Since that point in time, a number of superstars have since been released from TNA as well, including Matt Morgan, who asked for his release, Tara, Doc, who was on his way to turning face and leaving Aces and Eights. He actually had something going for him in TNA. He was let go. His contract negotiations failed to smooth out. D'Lo Brown, who was an agent for TNA, Bruce Pritchard, surprisingly, who was the head of talent relations, and also Jesse Sorensen. Now, Jesse Sorensen, at Against All Odds last February in 2012, he broke his neck in a match with Zema Ion, who is also currently out due to surgery, and I'll get to him in a second. So Jesse Sorensen has yet to return to the ring, has not appeared on an episode of Impact Wrestling since he broke his neck. I believe he appeared at Destination X last year to make a brief appearance, but that was about it. He crossed paths with Zema Ion, who went on to win the X Division Championship that night. Now, I thought that Zema Ion would hold the X Division title for a little bit, Jesse Sorensen would come back, and those guys would feud over the X Division Championship. Jesse Sorensen would finally win the belt after numerous times of failing and coming up short of winning the championship in 2011. He would go on this year to challenge the TNA World Heavyweight Champion because, of course, Option C, made by Austin Aries last year, he went on to defeat Bobby Roode to become the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So instead of Chris Sabin, I thought it would be Jesse Sorensen. Of course, not the case. Jesse Sorensen took up an office job instead and has now been since released from the company. Now, he set up a post or something like that on his website, which has since been revealed that it wasn't him, it was a friend of his. But even still, a lot of people are up in arms about this release, as am I. Releasing someone that put their life on the line for you, broke their fucking neck, and then you promise them a job for life, and then you get rid of them. Apparently, the reason behind his release was that he was being paid too much, but if that's the case, why not just take a pay cut then? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, as I explained in my last WrestleRant video, the only reason why TNA is doing this is because they're currently low on budget cuts and stuff like that. Going on the road, lesser pay-per-views, stuff like that they need to save some money on, so they're trying to cut people where they can. When contracts are expiring, they're letting people go. Unfortunately, it's talented individuals. Tara was a huge asset to the Knockouts division. She was the reigning Knockouts champion for maybe 5 to 6 months in late 2012, early 2013. Doc, as I said before, he had an impending face turn going for him at the time of his release. So it's a lot of just random releases over the last few weeks, and it's really shocking. TNA President Dixie Carter issued a statement earlier today addressing the current state of TNA. It really didn't say all that much. It was a pretty lengthy article, but she didn't really reveal anything that we didn't already know. But even still, some people are going out of their way to say that TNA is going to be closing by the end of the year. It's foreshadowing what ECW did and WCW did in their final months before they closed down in 2001, respectively. I don't think TNA is going to be closing down next month at the end of the year. I think they're just, going through a rough time at this point in time, with all, going on the road and such. I mean, it makes sense, and they have to cut money where money needs to be cut. But, like I said in my last video, why cut some people that are the future of your company? Gutcheck is a fucking joke at this point. Don't even bother hiring people that you're not going to be using on television and just going to eventually cut anyway. Yet they still have Hulk Hogan, they still have Brooke Hogan, they still have Sting. Sting's an exception, he still wrestles, he's a part of the main event mafia thing. Hulk Hogan is on his way to Bound for Glory to potentially face Bully Ray, which would be a fucking train wreck of a matchup, so I really hope that doesn't happen. Brooke Hogan serves absolutely zero purpose in TNA. I don't know how much they're paying her, but I know it's probably a hell of a lot more than anyone else in the roster, yet they keep her around. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff were signed by TNA in early 2010. They were brought in for the first episode of Impact Wrestling that went live on Monday nights, head-to-head with Monday Night Raw for the first time ever, first show of 2010. They got their highest rating in history. They had to eventually leave Monday nights because they got destroyed in the ratings a few weeks later. And now TNA thinks they can keeping Hogan around and keeping Bischoff around, and he's not on television anymore. But even still, I think Bischoff's fine now that he's no longer on television. But as far as Hogan goes, they think this is going to lead to some impact or change in the ratings, but it hasn't. The ratings haven't changed at all. I was watching some video a few days ago that was explaining the exact difference in ratings as far as viewership for Impact Wrestling goes. It has declined over the last 2 years since Hogan jumped ship. I mean, It's not like they're destroying the product, but it just serves no purpose. I don't understand why they're paying this guy so much money like they did with Ric Flair. Ric Flair, when he was a part of TNA for the 2 years that he was, 2, 3 years that he was, it was a complete waste of time. I mean, he did stuff in the beginning with Fortune, with Styles, with Jay Lethal early on, but then he just served no purpose, and they had to let go of him. They were paying this guy millions of dollars for doing nothing. So I'm glad they're cutting some slack where slack needs to be cut. But for Hulk Hogan, why is that guy still around if they're going to be paying him so much money to do absolutely nothing? This guy has control of the company. Dixie Carter has no idea what she's doing. I don't think TNA is going to be closing, but you got to think, last week at Destination X, a phenomenal event. I was marking the hell out when Chris Sabin won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship by beating Bully Ray. But is that the smartest move right now? I agree with the whole X Division thing. They vacated it. They had an awesome series of matches. They're crowning a new champion tonight on Impact Wrestling. But surrounding the World Championship, it has its positives and its negatives. One, you can say you made a star out of it, kind of. I'm not really sure. Austin Aries had the mic skills. He was ready. He was X Division champion for 9 months, I think, before he finally cashed in and became. He was the longest reigning X Division champion in history before becoming TNA World Heavyweight Champion last year at Destination X by ending Bobby Roode's record-setting reign as TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Okay, so he was ready when he won the championship. Chris Sabin was nowhere near ready. He came back from the knee injuries. It's a feel-good story that he won the championship. Okay, so I understand that. But bringing this guy back with zero momentum, winning the championship last month at Slammiversary, dropping it, winning it back, losing it a week later by vacating it, then winning the World Championship. The crowd, I think, popped just to see Bully Ray lose rather than Chris Sabin win. You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of Chris Sabin. All hail Sabin. Happy that he's world champion, but was it the smartest move, especially if they're just going to have him be a transitional champion and drop the title a month from now anyway? I just don't see the point in having Bully Ray drop the championship in midst of his reign, only to win it back and then drop it again at Bound for Glory, because I don't see him leaving Bound for Glory as TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I see probably AJ Styles winning the Bound for Glory series. Styles versus Ray at Bound for Glory. Styles wins, new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So, I don't know. I don't understand the whole point in the whole title change thing. It came as a huge surprise to me when Sabin won. As I said, awesome moment. It was awesome for the short term of things, not so much for the long term. Remember, last year, same exact thing. This is on a much lesser scale, though. It didn't cause as much of a problem because TNA rebounded nicely from this. But with Austin Aries, everyone thought that Bobby Roode was going to go on to become, stay World Heavyweight Champion until Bound for Glory, and then drop the championship to James Storm, who was originally scheduled to win the Bound for Glory series last year. They ended up having their match at Bound for Glory, but it wasn't for the title because Austin Aries won at Destination X. Now James Storm is floundering in the mid-card as tag team champion right now because he didn't win the Bound for Glory series last year. Think of how that would have changed had Austin Aries not won the title last year. What Austin Aries would be doing right now, he's not doing much anyway, but what he would be doing right now if James Storm actually did win the Bound for Glory series and they had that big-time matchup for the championship at Bound for Glory last year. So, I don't know. Going back to TNA's Turmoil, I don't think it's something that's going to close down the company in the foreseeable future. I don't see them lasting forever, but I just think these problems they're having at the moment are only for the interim. So hopefully, I would hope. I mean, I don't want to see anyone out of a job, but the recent releases, you're releasing someone on maternity leave. Madison Rayne was pregnant at the time. You release your head of talent relations. From what I understand, Bruce Pritchard wasn't doing a great job anyway. But when you release your head of talent relations, then you know you're in trouble. When you have to have your president release an issue or statement issue a statement in regards to the current state of TNA, you know you're in trouble. When you release a guy that had a broken neck and you promised him a job for life, you know you're in trouble. So I would hope that TNA rebounds nicely from this. They get back on track as soon as possible. They had their best thing going last year as far as what their programming was. I mean, I'm not a TNA hater. I hate to see people like, oh, you're only saying that because you're a WWE fan. I watch TNA on a regular basis more than anyone else I know. I'm a huge TNA fan. I write TNA articles all the time. I just wrote an article last month in regards to TNA and 7 reasons why you should be watching Impact Wrestling every Thursday night. So I'm a huge TNA fan. I want to see them succeed, but it's hard to believe in them when they're cutting all these people and they're making unnecessary cuts when they should be cutting people like Hogan, Sting, Brooke Hogan, You know what I mean? It's just a waste of money in my opinion. But Sting is better because, like I said before, he wrestles on a regular basis. But by this point in time, he has nothing left to prove. He doesn't serve any impact in the ratings whatsoever. That guy's returned millions of times and has made zero impact on the programming and the product overall. But even still, I hope to see I hope to see TNA succeed. And here's hoping, because right now they're not going through a great time, and I would hope that they can bounce back nicely from this going forward. So anyway, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. This is GSM signing up. Till next time, guys.